Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Marina's channel with Zaddy in the house. You
I
know how
like
many
that I've
times I
got
recorded that?
I like that I've gotten very comfortable introducing yourself like that. You're finally coming into the fullness of who you are, Marina Zaddy. Abi? Hey people, welcome back to our channel. It's our channel today. You thought you could escape us, but no, you're back again.
I didn't know you were calling me back so soon.
Thank you very much for joining me in yet another exciting video with my husband, Wilfred. For those of you who are new here, welcome. To the returning subscribers, always so nice to have you guys here. As promised, guys, we're here to fulfill the promise. We've promised that we're going to talk about this since last year, but better late than never, right? We're here now. So as you can tell from the title, we're going to be sharing how we were able to acquire 2 properties in Canada in a space of 4 years or 5 years-ish, between 4 to 5 years. But either way, that's what we're going to be sharing today. We're not sharing this video because we're trying to show off or put pressure on anybody. The major reason why we're sharing this is to help couples, especially immigrant couples in Canada, in the diaspora, to understand what is possible when you both agree. Like when you both are on the same page, when you both plan, when you both stay accountable, stay committed to the plans that you have made, just to show you what is possible. Okay?
Yeah. I think most times people talk about family planning, it's always like, oh,
you know that family planning means something else, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this
It's planning children, babe.
No. I was getting somewhere.
Sorry, I just said family planning.
I was getting somewhere. Just like people do family planning, there's also an aspect where finances comes in. So I think that's some of the things that we're probably going to talk about today. The importance of financial transparency and discipline amongst couples. Sometimes if you go different tangents on how you have a separate bank account, you have a joint account, and who's putting in what, but we're not probably going to talk about that. But just the fact that we agree, and then we're able to make decisions and execute from there.
Absolutely. So disclaimer, if you're watching this video hoping that you're going to hear what we earn or exact cost of things, I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. We don't feel comfortable enough talking about our income on YouTube. We don't feel comfortable enough giving exact amounts of our properties on YouTube. So we'll provide ranges and estimates of the properties as it's necessary. Okay, just thought to put that out there to level set the expectations. So let's start the story from the very beginning. We moved to Canada from Nigeria in May of 2016. And when we moved here, like almost the typical immigrant journey, we had to start our careers from a couple of steps lower than where we were before when we were in Nigeria. Okay, for me, I had to go back to school. I couldn't find a job immediately. So buying a property was not a priority for us at that time. At that time, we were just focused on survival, on getting back into our careers and advancing from there. Where the inspiration came from, or where we first thought about the fact that actually we can actually start actively planning towards this, was in, I think, December of 2016. We had a friend or friends who moved the year before we did, and by December of 2016 they purchased the property, and we were very excited for them to say, how did you guys make this happen? And they told us, like, to say, okay, it was a lot of planning, it was active planning, it was something that they had been looking into, they saved, and they just basically told us the steps that they followed. And we thought, wow, we thought this thing was not possible for the next 2 to 3 years, but listening to their story, we thought that's actually something that we can work towards. It's something that we can plan towards. And that's where our interest and all the research and everything we did started. So this is the first point that I want to stop and just emphasize on. If you're doing things and people ask you questions, please, for the love of God, don't tell them, oh, it's just God. Everything is God. Give people proper guidance. When people ask you questions, share with them what you're comfortable sharing with them. Because if those people had told us, we don't know, we just did it was just God, it probably would have taken us longer to start that journey, because we would not have had any information to trigger that thinking process. Do you understand what I mean? Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's that information, and in the went even further to say how. So it just it was a plan that we could work towards.
It kind of showed us like a blueprint of what was
Wasn't
possible.
just something vague.
Absolutely, it was not vague. So that's where the journey started from. So I'm going to turn over the actual process to you, like all the banking, the pre-approval, like talk a little about that, how we triggered that.
Because I think that time I think we used just my income then, right?
Yes, because my job was temporary.
Yeah. So of course we went through the normal process of pre-approvals, and one interesting thing was that we were pre-approved for a certain amount, a high amount, but we ended up going with something lower, and for a couple of reasons. I think there were pros and cons to getting the maximum of your pre-approval or staying well within your limit. So we decided to stay well within our limit. To at the time we didn't know that, but we thought it was okay. It was easy for us to handle this with just one income, still have money to save, and all of that.
So just to expand a little on what my husband just said, typically if you're going to do a mortgage, you go to the bank, they will check your income, they check your notice of assessment from the year prior on the taxes that you filed. There's information they look for in all of that. I can't interpret it because we're no experts. If you want us to bring an expert to this, just indicate in the comment section below and I can make that happen. So maybe somebody will come and explain all the step-by-step process, but we can't do that right now. We went to the bank, did all the pre-approvals, they checked our income. At that time, my job was temporary, so they did not factor my income into what we were pre-approved for. They used only his income because it was permanent. That's a little more stable when the job is permanent as against when it's temporary. So they looked at our income, looked at all of our expenses, looked at all of our debt to say, what are you owing? All of those things, and said, okay, looking at your income, looking at your expenses, looking at your debt, this is what is safe for us to give you. So that's what they determine how much they give you for the mortgage, right? For us, again, I'm going to use an approximate, not real numbers. Let's say we were approved for $400,000, right? We got a bit afraid. Our risk appetite was very low at the time, and we were like, no, we're not going to go to the maximum. So we bought a house that was $320,000, still left that $80,000 room to say, this is mortgage that we want to be able to conveniently pay on one income. If something happens to one person's job, we don't want it to become a burden to continue to carry this mortgage. So that's why we did that. Looking back now, Mr. Eteng, knowing what we know now, if we knew then what we know now, what would you have done differently in that process?
We probably would have taken everything. Or rather,
what do you mean taking everything? Like buy a house that was at the max?
Buy a house, a bigger house, because the house we got then didn't have a legal suite. It was not very common practice then where, again, it comes down to knowledge about, if someone had told us, oh, you might as well just get a bigger place to rent a basement out and all of that and bring more income. But so I think the pros in my opinion was we could comfortably pay that mortgage on one person's income, and we wanted it that way. And what do you think were the cons?
Yeah, the pro and the con are about the same. Yeah. So while the pro was that we went for a house that we could conveniently afford, we did not struggle to pay the mortgage at any point, that was also the con, because at that point, we put money in a house that did not have a legal suite, which means the house was not generating any income, which means technically it was not an asset. While we were living in the house, it was not an asset, it was a liability. That's the truth. Even though we were building equity in the house, but it was not equity you would have access to, except you're trying to sell, or you're trying to put your mortgage, or you're trying to get another one. But while we were living there, the house was not generating any income. So if we knew then what we know now, we probably would have pushed ourselves to get a house that was closer to the upper end of what we were pre-approved for, and then get a house that had a legal suite, so that while we were living on the main floor, the basement could be generating some income and it would contribute to the mortgage of the main house. So when we look back, that's something that we wish we did differently, but I mean, that's what it was. We lived in that house for about 4 years, and then we started to consider the option of an additional property. We wanted to get property in a completely different market from Saskatchewan. Like, that's what we first thought about. Do you remember? Thank God we didn't do that. We wanted to get property in a different market. In fact, I cannot even lie, it's in Ontario. We considered getting a property in Ontario. But when we saw the prices and what it was going to require of us as down payment, we couldn't afford it. So we reached out to a couple of friends to say, hey, are you guys interested in doing like a joint venture with us? Let's buy property in Ontario, because the market was hot at that time. So our friends looked at it and said, guys, as much as this is a fantastic business opportunity, but look at that market. The pricing that you see right now is artificial. Everything is artificially inflated. This thing is going to settle down. At that point, will it still be profit? And we sat down, took a step back, did some projections. I mean, we decided that, okay, maybe now that we're looking at additional property, let's consider Saskatchewan. What if we consider another property in Saskatoon, which is where we live? And that's where the journey towards the second property started. So I'd like you to take this part away. So what did we do the second time? Just to provide timelines. So for the initial property, finalized the property in January of 2018 and moved in March of 2018. This conversation about the second property we started to have in December of 2021.
So fast forward into when we made this decision to say, okay, let's take advantage of the market here in Saskatoon. Because we went back to the bank, pre-approvals, Marina's income was used as well.
My job was now permanent this time.
Yeah, we started looking for property in the same location as the old one. Just for proximity, we considered, not trying to disrupt the kids from school and their patterns and work and all of the things. And then went to the bank, did the approvals. They took into consideration what you're going to do with the other property, where you're going to rent it out, rental income, all of that stuff. We got the pre-approval, and then there was a question of whether to build or to buy.
The $1 million question.
Whether to build or to buy, because we were not in a hurry to go anywhere. We opted to build.
To do a custom build. So that's what we did. So I think at this point, the big question that is on everybody's mind, if I were watching this video, what I would want to know is how, Marina and Fred, how exactly did you guys come up with down payment for the first property? How did you come up with down payment for the second property? How did you do it, baby?
So the first property, right?
And the second property?
I think it just came down to intentional saving. I know that's like a cliche. People just say, oh, just save. But I think it was very, very much into saving. We saved everything. We cut down on things we didn't need. We used the car that we got.
Our faithful and ever reliable Junie.
Oh my goodness.
We rocked that car to the point where our children named the car Junie. Talk about Junie. It was an old car, like such an old. I think we bought that car maybe like 2K.
$1,987.
That's 2K. So yeah, go ahead, honey.
But that car was really reliable.
It was.
We didn't have any car payments. We didn't have any other thing. Credit card was not even an issue, and so we just saved everything that we had, and then ended up making the down payment for the first house. Second house, the same thing. We realized that after we put all the funds together, we had quite a substantial down payment.
So to build on that, guys, when I say we saved aggressively, I mean we saved aggressively. Like, we cut down on everything that was not necessary, like all the frivolities we cut out. Our expenses we kept as minimal as possible. We bought only the things we needed. All the bonuses from work were saved. Every salary increase we saved everything and tried to keep our expenses as minimal as possible. And in all of this, as all of this was happening, life was still happening, because there were things that were happening that were outside of our control. Because it was in the process of saving for all of this that my mom passed away, and I had to travel out of country for the funeral. And thankfully, we had saved up enough. I had like a buffer. It was not such a major inconvenience to go on that trip for the funeral. So we saved basically for like the first down payment we saved. The second time, it was pretty much the same thing. Because we were going for a custom build, we needed only a small fraction deposit to put. I think it was maybe like $10,000 that we put down upfront with the builder, right? Every other thing for the down payment, we only provided at the end when the house was ready, when we were taking possession. So that period of building gave us time to continue to save.
Yeah, but we had the funds available. We just didn't
put all of it down upfront.
Yeah. Because the bank has to check that too.
Yes. So when I say continue to save, the expenses that come with a new house is not just down payment. There's also like lawyer fees for like closing costs, and of course if you're moving from a smaller house into a bigger one, there are things you're going to dispose of. You're going to buy some things brand new. Do you understand what I mean? So that's what I mean when I say we continue to save. That whole period gave us time to save. Custom build, Mr. Eteng, versus buying a finished house. What would you say the advantages and the disadvantages are? Like, why didn't we go for a house that was already built? Why custom build?
I'll be honest, Marina had most of the desires for some of the tweaks she wanted to do in the house. But I think I wanted the space, because we're working from home, wanted the space where the two
We could
offices,
have home offices, yeah.
and all of that.
So that we can stop talking in each other's meetings.
Yeah,
Because
which
in our
was
former house, we were
happening.
walking out of one room, and guys, it was a nightmare. I will kick him out when I have interviews. When he has some sensitive kind of meetings, he will kick me out. Because at some point, we're working for the same employer. And of course, human resources, it's not everything you hear until HR is ready to share. But so at times like that, I will kick him out.
I couldn't even get
No,
insider.
no insider
information.
gist, So it was a bit of a nightmare walking out of the same room. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so, and of course, we also wanted a bigger space because the kids were getting older. And we're just bumping into ourselves a lot of times. So, but we didn't also want to go something crazy.
Too crazy, yeah.
Yes, we had the funds available to get something even bigger, but we realized that in a couple of years, kids are out of the house. It's funny that you save so much to get a big house, and then you now have to downsize again. So it didn't make sense because So again, just looking at some of those customizations, you talk about the other things, but getting the office space and a bonus room was also important too because of the kids being able to help them to study while they're home and all of that. So those were some of the things
that we consider.
We consider for sure.
Some of the advantages I would say of the custom built house to the in addition to what my husband has said is just the option to customize things. Like for us, for this house, we saw the plan. There were things that we changed in the plan.
Yeah.
There were things that that was not in the plan that we could add. So it was just the option to tweak things, to customize it. We also didn't go too crazy with customization because I understand that when you customize something too much to your own taste, when it's time to sell it, you literally will only be able to sell it to somebody who shares a similar taste. We didn't want to put ourselves in that position by customizing it so much that it will be completely useless to somebody else. So we tried to be reasonable with the customizations that we made, but I like the fact that I had that option. So and again, another advantage I would say the time from when it started to when we took possession, just realistic timelines, giving us time to save and make plans ahead. All of that, I like that.
I was going to say, thank God we didn't get the second house in the corner lot.
No, we didn't want a corner lot. Our first house was a corner lot, and the snow cleaning, the grass cutting, you have to clean the sidewalk. No, it was too much. So we could pick what we wanted. What would you now say the disadvantages are of custom build?
Custom build, I think you have to wait because certain stages in the house where if it's already at that stage, there's really nothing you can do. Because for me, for my own personal taste is, walking into a house and seeing the staircase, I wanted it on the side and not, in front of the door. So things like that, you could move things around. So one of the cons there is that you probably have to wait for the house to be built, right? And then it was during that COVID, we're just coming out of COVID and all of that. Then we had supply chain issues.
Oh my God.
Tradesmen that were scarce.
Labor shortage with tradesmen.
So all those delays. But the good thing, again, for us, is that we were not in a hurry. But the other thing that was very sensitive too is that we had a window for when the mortgage was valid for it.
Yes.
So it was always.
So we had to work within that window. So at some point we're under a bit of pressure to say, okay, this has to finish. Like supply chain was the most annoying part. Like things that delivery that were on a normal day take 2 weeks. We waited 7-8 weeks sometimes for like doors to be delivered. And then there was lumber shortage, wood, the cost of lumber skyrocketed, like a lot of things were off.
Inflationary costs, and those are some of the cons.
In fact, at some point, the value of the cost of the house went up When the price we initially negotiated, a couple of months later, it was not even sustainable for the builder to build at that cost. We had to go back and renegotiate. Like, it was a lot. But eventually, I'm glad that we're where we are right now. Like, we're enjoying our space and enjoying our new home. For everybody who is in this position, right, who's looking like for a new immigrant, or you've been in Canada a while, whatever period you've been here, and you're looking to invest in your own home. I don't know what your peculiar circumstances are, but what I want you all to take away from this is that both of us sat down, made these plans, and we worked towards the plans together as a couple. There was financial transparency. Nobody was hiding their money. We knew what each other was earning.
You have land somewhere.
You can't even buy land and go and hide in Canada. They'll smoke you out. We were on the same page about the goal that we were trying to achieve, and we were transparent with each other. So all those petty fights we hear about couples fighting about childcare benefits, who's going to take childcare benefit, like all those things make me laugh. Like, if you're fighting over the small things now, you're not ready for the big stuff. What's the highest amount childcare benefit can be that husband and wife will start fighting about it, as against putting down payment for a mortgage? Like, those are the bigger things. So if couples will just plan together, be transparent with one another, there's almost no limit to what you can do when both of you agree and you are transparent and accountable to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I can add anything else to what you've said. It's coming together and agreeing on being transparent. It was shocking to see how much we could
save, right? Just the dedication to our saving plan. By the time we looked at it, we're like, wow, we did this actually.
Yeah.
Well, another thing I would say helped us was that the period between the first job and the second job, both of us had changed roles like a number of times. So our income was different. I had gone to school, I had upskilled, he had changed jobs. Like, we're not at the same spot in 2018 as we were in 2021 or 2022. So that upward trajectory in our careers and in our earning power also helped us as well. And then at that time, I had started my YouTube channel. By the time we were looking at the second property, I had started my channel. I had done a couple of brand collaborations, so I could save some of the income that I was making on YouTube as well. So having additional sources of income, having a higher earning power also helped us. So if if real estate is something that you're interested in, if you do not have another business that you can pull funds from, then you're going to have to look at how you can increase your earning power and diversify your sources of income so that it's something that you can sustain. So just something for somebody to look into if that's something that you're interested in.
Yeah. So again, just talking about one of the advantages of building, I forgot to add, it also gave us the time to be able to buy all the furniture that we needed for this house. So it was kind of like a blessing in disguise. So
yeah.
We're winning in some ways, but we're also
under pressure
on the other end. So it allowed us to be able to buy all of this, and pay it off completely for the new house.
Yeah. So we were able to get furniture for the new house completely debt free. We were able to buy appliances for the new house because our custom build didn't come with appliances. That's something somebody else needs to put into consideration. If it was a finished house, it probably would have had appliances, but because this was new, we had to buy the appliances ourselves, and we were able to do all of that debt free without going into debt because we had that time to save aggressively and consolidate our income. So
I had my man cave too.
Yes, he got a man cave. I'm not jealous. It's okay. Take it. Anyway,
I offered it to you
in the basement. No, I don't want. Thank you. I'll take my office. I'll take my
okay.
office on the main floor. So it evened out.
Okay, yeah. So I have, yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video, guys. I hope it made sense. I hope you took something from this beyond just our own story. Your story can be different. There are people who have done way more than we have, but we're grateful for our journey so far. I hope you guys learned from this video, from just listening to our story, the power of unity, the power of agreement, and financial transparency in marriage. There's only so much that can stop you when two people are on the same page and you both agree. If you have any questions, please leave that in the comment section below. If you're interested in us because we're more than happy to bring our mortgage advisor on this channel to talk about, if you want to know about mortgage 101, like where do you even start from? What does the bank look at? What do the lenders look at if you're looking to get a mortgage? If that's something you're interested in, please indicate that in the comment section below. If you have any questions, leave that in the comment section below. And depending on the number of questions we get, maybe we'll record a Q&A about this just to answer the specific questions that people have. Again, thank you very much for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please share it, let other people learn and just see what is possible when couples agree.
Oh yeah, so this is my outro. So yeah, thank you for watching. I think the little things that we shared, that's why there's a good comment section down there. You can put your comments in there, and Marina will be up at night trying to respond to them.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you again for watching this video, and until we come your way in the next one, it's Marina and Zari. Say thank you and have an awesome day. Bye guys.